So I guess that is a question. Like, what do you do when the fire alarm goes off? Which camp are you in, Stephanie?
Yeah. Well, I was clearly grab your glass and go. I'm not leaving my $13 glass of rosé on this table because I don't know how long I'm going to be out there and I may get parched. So I grabbed my glass and I found an employee exit and I scooted my way out of that building.
I did the same thing, except it was an old fashioned and not the rosé. But that employee, that employee exit really just kind of highlighted how much of a facade a hotel is.
Yes.
Because you're like in this grand, beautiful ballroom with the chandelier and lighting and, mood lighting. And you enter that door and it's like,
boy, barren.
Just concrete. Brutalist architecture. Barren.
Immediately just slapped by the concrete. It was
one of those places that you enter, and if you're by yourself, you just yell. You're like, echo, 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 and you're like, yeah, that's a lot of fun. But when you're around other people, you just have to hold that inside yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you exit out to
the streets.
Yeah, street in Seattle, and you're like, oh, well, I've never seen this alley before. Service entrance, huh?
Interesting. Loading dock. Well. Yeah, that was quite the experience. Right in the middle. So for those that weren't there, this took place as we were in the middle of the awards ceremony. So dinner had already concluded at this point. A lot of people had already made their way through their delicious Nutella dessert. And we were midway through the awards presentation and the alarm starts going off. And a lot of us are just, doing all the checks. Like, where are the exits? Do I smell smoke? Stop, drop, and roll. Wait, wrong one. Okay.
Yeah, don't need that one yet.
Wait, sorry, wrong one. Going through the whole thing. And then realize, we know what to do. We all just start scooting right out the building. I'm glad it happened in that room with those people and we could all laugh about it and enjoy it because it was such a, is it meta? Do we still say meta moment? It felt like such a meta moment that so many of us have to deal with those circumstances on our campuses. And then for all of us to just instinctually be like, oh, we know what to do. Nobody needs to tell us what to do.
We're just going to do this.
And we're all on the same page. Let's go, everyone.
The other thing it highlighted for me is how much I like elevators because I had no kind of perspective like what climbing 5 flights of stairs actually means until I'm doing that in dress shoes with an old fashioned. It's getting dangerously close to the bottom as I'm going down the flights of stairs. Like, thank God for elevators, huh?
Yeah.
Luckily, it wasn't freezing. That was helpful.
That's really why I grabbed my glass. I said, well, if I can't have a coat, I'll have my wine to keep me warm. We had a good time out there. And if anyone has checked out the gallery yet from the photos, there's a big gallery of photos from the conference. And I may or may not have engaged in a photo shoot. It's up for you to find. I'm not going to tell you where to find it. But there are lots of other wonderful shots from the conference as well. So if you haven't had an opportunity to check out that free album of photos, please do that. You received an email with the password, little plug there to go check out the resources and the photos from the March conference. But anything like that, any fun, emphasis on the fun, kind of situations on your campus where it wasn't serious and thankfully everyone could have a good laugh about it?
I would say just about every single time there is a fire drill that they do send out emails for the most part when they're doing those. But I think as we all may know, no one actually reads email. So for some reason, even though they warn people a week ahead of time, a day before the morning of, there is still like a climate of, is this real? Is this fake? What do we do? Have we never done this before? So that's, it's about as fun as it gets.
So frustrating. Got it. Frustrating.
Yeah. Can't think of anything more fun. Because it's also always when, you have You're right in the middle of a project. You're in the zone. You're in that flow state. And then, boom, it just starts going. It knocks you right out of it.
Yeah, no, we do. So the state of California, and I think it's nationwide now, but the state of California does a great shakeout. And so it's like a nationwide state, West Coast really, but again, nationwide now, earthquake drill. And they always do it in October, and it's pretty well publicized. But yeah, it's like kind of similar pushback. Like people will just stay at their desks and work through it. And it's like, guys, we really only do this once a year. Like, cause you just participate for 10, 15 minutes, like just step outside your door, pop back in a few minutes. Like it'll be quick, but we need to practice. It's good practice. We are in an earthquake prone area. We should probably know what to do. You don't have to stop, drop, and roll, but maybe just like exit the building to our evacuation area and then come back in.
Is that the proper procedure during an earthquake? Stop, drop, and roll?
It used to be when I was a kid. They've rebranded it. It's now it's cover, hold. Say I don't even know. That was ingrained with the old procedure. I don't even know the new procedure.
I've never had to do an earthquake drill in my life, but well, drills, conference fun, all of that.
Yeah,
I think that sets us up to talk about today's guest, doesn't it?
I think so. Let's do it. Every spring at the end of the national conference, NCMPR ushers in a new president. We're pleased to chat this episode with Virginia Moreland, the Director of Marketing and Advertising at the College System of Tennessee and NCMPR's 2024-25 president. One of the great things about getting a new president every year is that we get a new president's goals. And a big priority for Virginia? Making sure new members know they belong right away. Welcome, Virginia. It's so good to have you on the Can You Make It Pretty podcast. We had the pleasure of seeing you in March in Seattle at the national conference, and I have a very pressing question for you. Where were you during the fire alarm?
I was slowly making my way out of the room. I was helping to make sure everyone else left the room before I myself left the room, with the hopes that perhaps they would call a false alarm.
Well, you were a much better person than me. I was out. Alarm went off. I was like, yeah, I've read too many about hotel fires for me to just stay here.
We're out of here.
Well, yeah, I probably could have been a bit more urgent about it, but I'm going to blame Juan.
Did you take an escalator or did you find a staff entrance exit like we did?
I didn't even make it to the escalator. I barely made it out of the ballroom before they said everybody go back in. So.
Oh my goodness, you were not kidding. You literally stayed back to make sure everyone else had left. Hats off to you. I made it out to the sidewalk, glass in hand. I was safe. I was marked safe.
Me too. On Facebook and everything.
Well, but it was lovely. Fire drill aside, it was lovely to see you and to welcome you as NCMPR's new president. We're seeing a lot of new members. Why is it such a priority for you to get new folks quickly integrated?
Well, I definitely think, the future success of NCMPR is always going to rely on people being engaged, being involved, and the new folks that are coming up into leadership roles. So getting these new folks to the conferences, introducing them to all the incredible offerings that NCMPR has for them, having them make those personal connections with other people, that is what helps us to grow as an organization, to be better, to bring more people in, to get more perspectives on what we're doing and how we can improve.
Yeah, and overwhelming feedback from those new members was exactly what you said. Great conference, really valuable. And right at the end, one of the most valuable things happened. And that's we called our new president up to the stage. So I want you to just kind of describe just kind of how that felt, what was going on in your body. Your name is called, you have to give a speech, to a room of, I think it was 400 and some odd people. Tell us about that.
Well, I'll admit I was a ball of nerves the whole morning, knowing that moment was coming. But I tried to look to my predecessors who have set great examples to follow. So, I was excited. I was nervous. I wanted, obviously, to make a good impression. And my main message was about getting involved when I got up there. And I kind of issued a challenge to folks to take that one little step forward, to raise their hand up and just say, yeah, I'll do that one little thing, because I just think that first step is so important. So it was a great moment, and it's a little bit of a blur, to be honest. At this point, it's kind of, it's a little bit fuzzy in my brain, I think, at this point.
Well, you definitely made us proud.
Well, I'm glad. I feel like I have a lot to live up to. I really look at the presidents that I have known in my time at NCMPR, and so many of them kind of loom large in my mind. And so to now be seeing myself among those folks, it's a little, I don't know if it's intimidating, it's humbling. It's just, I hope I can live up to what has come before me.
Well, I have faith in you. I want you to know that you are in good company, and you are part of that company of folks that people look up to.
Well, I feel very fortunate in that I feel like our board is just a group of the most amazing people that I've ever had the good fortune to work with. I've kind of repeatedly said over the years that it's so rare to get into a room full of 20-some people between the board and the national staff and not have a single person there that I don't enjoy spending time with. They're all, we all work hard, we play hard, we enjoy being around each other. And I think that's what helps us be successful as an organization.
Absolutely. And it was such a joy to see you usher in your presidency in your New Orleans style. That was very fun. So for those of you that didn't attend the conference, the next national conference will be in New Orleans. And now you know. Mm-hmm. And Virginia kind of led like what is the word? What is it called? Line. Not coming to me right now.
Second line. Yeah.
Second line. Thank you. She kind of was led a little second line through the audience, which is super fun to welcome her presidency and then also get everybody excited about what's to come next year. So talking about the year ahead, I want to actually take a step back and learn, how did you originally get involved with NCMPR, and how long has it been that you've been involved with the organization?
So I've been a part of NCMPR for 11 years now, if I'm correct. Yes, 11 years. So I was new to higher ed. In 2012, I joined the college system of Tennessee. And I was new to higher ed at that point. My background is more healthcare, and actually a children's science museum is where I've spent the majority of my time. So going into higher ed in this new industry, I pretty quickly was like, who can help me get up to speed, and like, what are the important things to know about higher ed marketing? So specifically the 2-year colleges, since I was with a community college system. And so I found NCMPR, and unfortunately I had just missed the national conference. So I think it was in Chicago that year. So I was really bummed that I missed out on it, but I did see that there were district conferences that would be coming up in the fall. So I made those plans to attend. And so that was my first encounter, or my first event with NCMPR, was Hilton Head, South Carolina District 2 Conference in 2013.
Not a bad place to start.
No, it was really nice.
I can imagine. That sounds lovely. Mm-hmm. I like that you took it upon yourself as someone new to higher ed to seek out the resource. And I like hearing now that 11 years later that you're still here, that you're the president, and that you've gotten out of it what you hope to get out of it as someone new to higher ed. I hope that our new listeners and those that attended the national conference with us in March for the first time hear that and understand what a powerful resource this is, and how useful your colleagues can be and what a network of colleagues that we have.
Yeah, I'll say what really impressed me, and I think probably what led to me getting more and more involved in NCMPR was having come from some different industries. As I said, I've worked in healthcare, I've worked in children's museums and other areas. So I've been to conferences, I've been a part of organizations for other industries, and I've gone to conferences with those organizations. And coming to an NCMPR conference, what really struck me right away was that our conferences, they provided actual tangible information that I could take back and actually implement and apply to what I was doing. A lot of the other organizations I was in, the conferences they spent so much time at very high level of looking at issues that it was hard to see how they were going to impact my day-to-day job. And NCMPR just has a really great mix of that high-level strategic thinking, but then also very practical information that you can take home and make your day-to-day life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I had a very similar experience. My first conference was in Vegas, and I had only been in higher ed maybe 3-4 months at that point. And it was like, oh, I found my people. There's people here who understand what I'm doing. In marketing, particularly in higher ed, we can feel like we're on an island at our college. So it was nice to come to this national place and see, oh, it's not just me. It's, there's literally hundreds of us that do this. Being in that ecosystem was really powerful. And something really powerful happened at that conference. I went to my district mixer, and Deborah McGoy, past president, put her arm around me, and she was like, Maddie, we need your help. We need you to be a part of this, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, I might be interested. Sure, whatever, right? And then I came to our next district conference, was in Denver. And again, Deborah put her arm around me and was like, Maddie, I'm moving up to the board. We need an assistant director over here. And that's what pulled me in, was that specific relationship with Deborah through the district conference, and Natalie, who's part of the national staff now. So I'm curious, on your end, were there specific instances like that, where there's specific moments or people that you met that kind of wrapped their arm around you and were like, hey, Virginia, come on, join the dark side?
Well, I had almost a similar experience at that very first district conference that I went to in Hilton Head. The district director at the time, Kristen Holmes, she was talking about where the next fall conference would be. And everyone was saying Nashville. They were saying, we want to go to Nashville. So at a break, I went up to her and I just told her, I said, hey, I live in Nashville. If you need any help with that, let me know. I'd be happy to assist in whatever way I can. And next thing I knew, I was the conference chair. So then I kind of got drafted. I'm not sure she ever officially asked me to be the conference chair, but I was drafted as conference chair, which was great. I loved it. It was wonderful to be able to do that so quickly after joining.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets?
No, gosh, not at all. Not at all.
Me neither. So let that be a lesson to anyone who's listening. It seems intimidating to get started, but once you're there, it's awesome. I mean, it just, the people you connect with, the friends you make, the opportunities you get to help your own professional development and help other people. It's just amazing to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Switching gears slightly, I understand that you have an opinion that will make diehards a little angry, maybe?
Okay.
So I have to ask.
Yeah.
Of the 2 stars, are you going to choose, are you team Star Trek or are you team Star Wars?
Oh, man. That's a really hard question.
We ask the real hard-hitting questions here on the Can You Make It Pretty podcast.
Okay. Oh gosh, whichever side I choose, I'm going to have folks mad at me. So, and I honestly do love both universes.
So Dancing with the Stars, then.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. You know what? If I could have, let's see, let's have Captain Janeway and Luke Skywalker dance on the Mamba. How's that?
I love that.
Spoken
actually,
like a true president.
Yes, that was
Very
wonderful.
political.
And I should say, I'm sorry, it's Mambo, not Mamba. Mamba's a snake.
They could dance that too.
Absolutely.
I also understand that when we were in Orlando, there was another conference happening right across the way.
Oh my gosh,
yes. What conference was that?
Well, that was MegaCon, which is a huge pop culture convention, similar to, if you've heard of San Diego Comic Con, okay, which is the one most folks know. So MegaCon is basically the same thing. It's also huge. It's about 115,000 people who come in for that every year. So, and it's you dress up like your favorite characters. You see panels with celebrities from your favorite movies or TV shows. And
was there maybe a little part of you that perhaps wish you had packed another suitcase and
I did
walked
not realize
across the street?
Yes, if
Tell
I
us
had
more
known
about that.
Okay. So I'll just confess right now, I am a very much a pop culture kind of nerd, geek, whatever you want to call it. So sci-fi, fantasy, video games, books, everything from Tolkien to Halo. It's, I kind of like it all. Harry Potter, you name it. So I do go to Dragon Con, which is a big convention in Atlanta. Similar thing. I will admit I have dressed up. I do have things for dressing up. And it's just fun, it's just kind of like, it's like Halloween every day if you go to a con. So, and you see really some tremendous craftsmanship in the folks who are, cosplayers who will create to the smallest detail, replicating the costumes of like Padme Amidala in Star Wars. Like every little piece is exactly the same. And it's just amazing what these people do. I do not do it to that level at all. So I'm a dabbler. But it's fun. You go and you meet up with people who are fans of the same things that you're a fan of, and you can just talk about, different aspects of it. So it's fun.
Do you dress as a specific character?
No, I've never been able, just like I can't choose between Star Wars and Star Trek. I've had a hard time ever deciding on one specific character that I want to try to recreate their outfit. So I'm a little more generic, like a steampunk butterfly fairy princess type thing. It's whatever I feel like throwing on.
Cool.
That is awesome.
Now you're seeing why I'm so excited about New Orleans, right?
Yeah. So I used to go to the Renaissance Festival when I was like religiously, and we would get all decked out for that. And they have one that was when I lived in Texas. The Texas Renaissance Festival is one of the biggest Renaissance festivals in the country. Now I live in Colorado, and there's a pretty big Renaissance festival here. But instead of getting all decked out for it, I dress like a grungy peon so that I don't have to carry heavy stuff with me. I just walk around, and be part of the climate there, but I don't actually have to like wear armor or carry a sword or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
nothing.
You're speaking my language, Miss Steampunk Fairy Princess.
So not only do we know that you are into sci-fi and cons and that world, I also have a note here that you were a competitive ballroom dancer. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's actually that's accurate as well. I spent about 8 to 10 years and it was pro-am, so I was never a professional or anything like that. But yes, I did ballroom dancing for I think 8 or 10 years and went to competitions and kind of specialized more in the American rhythm style, which is your cha-cha, rumba, what else? Swing and those dances. But I did the others as well. So the smooth dances, waltz, foxtrot, tango, all that fun stuff.
How fun. Do you still dabble in the ballroom dance, or is that era now behind you?
That era, for the most part, is behind me. I haven't really gone to do any sort of ballroom dance in quite a while. So I think about it now and then. I think about going back to it, but it's more of a time issue at this point. So I haven't had time to do that.
Sure.
Is there muscle memory with that? Like if I just popped on some Reverend Horton Heat or something that you would just flashback?
No, there is. If you don't do it, you do lose it quite a bit. I did go back on a few years ago. I was trying to introduce my stepson to it. So I took him for a lesson and I worked with the instructor to try to show him a few moves. And I was a little bit like, I felt very rusty. It's great exercise. I have to tell you, it's amazing exercise.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't do that.
Matt, you would
Renaissance fair, yes. Ballroom dancing, no.
Matt, you would make a great smooth dancer because you're tall and you could lift up your partner so easy. It'd be great.
I love that you have faith in my ability to be able to move with the rhythm of the music. So actually, the kindest thing I think anyone has ever said to me in my life is that I would be a good smooth dancer. Smooth and dancing. Those two words combined for me, never happened.
Not synonymous with Matthew.
Yeah,
Matthew does, though, have the stature of someone who was probably an excellent mascot at some point. And I also have a note here that, Miss Virginia, you have also done mascot work.
Is there anything she hasn't done?
I don't think so. This is an amazing
for
resume.
The record, I have not done mascot work.
Oh,
in high school, I dated the mascot, but that's
okay.
A story for a different podcast.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we're just bringing out all the stuff. Okay. So yes, I've done mascot work. That started my very first job. I was in marketing at a hospital, and they had a mascot named Ellie the elephant who worked with the children's tours at the hospital. And on occasion, it was needed for, I donned the mascot, and it was really fun. But the kicker that I'm sure this is leading to, my work as Ellie, I was at an event doing Ellie the elephant, and the official Ronald McDonald for our region was at this event. And he was so impressed with my performance, apparently, that he came up to me after the event and asked me to be his official Hamburglar and do appearances with him in the Hamburglar costume for McDonald's.
That's kind
Please
of
tell me you
amazing.
said yes.
Yes, right?
Oh, I absolutely said yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is
so cool.
That is awesome.
So I did a few events dressed as the Hamburglar, performing with Ronald, and it was a hoot.
I am just starstruck right now.
Oh my goodness.
I have never met the Hamburglar in real life.
And I wasn't allowed to say anything except rubble rubble. You remember him saying that? That was like,
of course, iconic.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow. Let's bask in this for just a second.
Little kid me is dying right now that I am speaking. Wow.
Yeah. I have a checkered past, I guess. I don't know.
The Hamburglar is more of a striped past. But
Yes. See what he did there?
there.
See what he did there?
All right. As we get to the point of closing out, I want to bring us back to NCMPR and to the future.
Uh-huh.
As we mentioned, our next conference is in New Orleans, which is going to be awesome, incredible. Yes. I also understand that was your first conference. Is that right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about that, how you're going to bring that energy from that first conference into next year's conference, and how that all ties together with boom, the 50th anniversary of NCMPR.
Oh gosh, we got so much to do this year, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, when we were looking at the site selection and knowing that would be the one that I would preside over, so was so excited to get to choose New Orleans for the site because of that connection. As I said, I missed that Chicago one, and so New Orleans ended up being my first national conference. And and again, I was so impressed with it. I was just so impressed with what NCMPR was doing, with the people that I met. So I'm hoping that by returning, I guess a couple of things. One, I'm hoping that I can serve as an example to any of those new people. If there's like another 100 or more new people at that conference, I want to be able to look out at them and say, this might be your first conference with us, but you can totally be where I am because I was you 11 years ago.
Right.
So, and really be like, don't be afraid to get involved. And just to kind of keep that going, my main thing is really encouraging folks. As I've already said, I just want people to take that first step, to not be afraid to take that first step. And there's so many benefits to just raising your hand and volunteering for some small part in your district, or, to write an article for council, to write an article for the blog, to judge medallions. Just that one step is all it takes to put you on that path to becoming a leader within the organization, and potentially going all the way up to being the president at some point. So over the next year, I just want to encourage people to get involved, take that first step, and set themselves up for leadership roles within the organization. And I'm hoping when they come to New Orleans, they'll see that there's so much opportunity for them to do so. And we're going to have a great time. We're going to make it fun. We're going to give lots of opportunities for people to meet other people and make those important connections, and go back home with, feeling good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Virginia. We look forward to seeing all of the incredible things you're bringing to the organization this year, working under your leadership, your guidance, and having an awesome time at our district conferences this fall, and then the national conference in New Orleans next spring.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to getting out there and meeting as many folks as possible at the fall conferences. So I've got my calendar marked and I'm ready to go.
Can You Make It Pretty is presented by the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations. NCMPR is the country's premier group for PR, communications, and marketing pros at two-year colleges. Can You Make It Pretty is mixed by Bill Aldridge at Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois, and produced by me. I'm Jacqueline Johanna Garver, and I'm the Communication and DEI Manager for NCMPR. Can You Make It Pretty is available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. If you like what you've heard, we'd love it if you subscribed, downloaded, rated, and reviewed.